They thought it was just another night hustle on Abuja Highway. But when the customers stopped being human, the real story began. It was a Friday night, one of those warm, quiet Abuja nights when the air smells like new rain and perfume mixed together. Cars moved gently along the Gorimpa Express. Streetlights blinked in gold and white. Amora stood by the roadside, dressed in a red gown that glowed under the lights. She wasn't just beautiful, she was the kind of woman that made men forget their names. Beside her were her friends, Cynthia and Boma. They laughed, teased, and waited for their usual customers, men who came in dark cars with tinted windows and fat wallets. Cynthia looked at her phone and hissed, "No wa-oh, tonight be dry like desert." Boma rolled her eyes, "Calm down, babe. Abuja men know they rush. Them go soon appear." But Amora's mind wasn't in the laughter, her thoughts were far. Earlier that day, she had called her mother, begging her to forgive her. The old woman's voice still echoed in her head. "One day, that road you dey walk go collect something from you." She brushed the thought aside and smiled weakly. A black Range Rover slowed down in front of them. The tinted glass rolled down halfway. A man's voice, deep and calm, called out, "Beautiful lady in red. I've been waiting for you." Amora froze for a moment. "Me?" The man smiled faintly. "Yes. You." Her friends giggled. "Amora, your market done open." Cynthia whispered playfully. Amora hesitated, then walked closer. The man looked too calm, too confident, like someone who didn't belong to this world of quick love and quiet cash. He was dressed in a neat black suit, eyes hidden behind dark shades even at night. "How much for the night?" he asked. Amora's voice trembled slightly. 50,000. He nodded slowly. "Get in." Something about his tone felt final, not like a question, but a command. She opened the door and entered. As the car pulled away, Cynthia shouted, "Babe, no go too far oh." Amora laughed softly through the window. "Abeg, I go call una soon." Minutes later, the Range Rover left the main road and entered a quiet side path. Amora looked around. It was dark, no street lights, no houses. Just bush and breeze. She shifted uncomfortably. "Excuse me, sir. This no be city road oh." The man didn't reply, he just kept driving. Then, suddenly, the car stopped. He turned slowly and looked at her. His eyes, no longer covered by shades, were glowing faintly, silver like moonlight. Amora gasped, "Jesus. Who are you?" The man smiled gently. "You called for comfort, didn't you? You wanted an escape. I came to take you." "Take me where?" she whispered, shaking. Before he could answer, her phone rang. She looked down. It was Cynthia calling, but when she pressed answer, all she heard was her own voice, whispering from the other end, "Don't look back." Amora dropped the phone, terrified. When she looked up, the man was gone. The driver's seat was empty, the engine still running. She tried to open the door, locked. Her breathing grew fast. Then, the radio turned on by itself. A soft female voice spoke through static. "Welcome to Ashawo Highway. Your journey starts here." The lights flickered, the road ahead vanished into darkness. The next morning, Cynthia and Boma waited at their usual spot. They kept calling Amora's number, no response. They thought maybe she went home with the man and would return later, but by afternoon, police tape covered a section of the highway. A black Range Rover was parked in the bush, empty, with the door open. On the passenger seat lay a red gown, folded neatly, and a single white rose beside it. No one ever saw Amora again. They said Amora disappeared that night, but every midnight, drivers still see a woman in red waving them down along that same highway. Some say it's her ghost. Others say she's still alive, waiting for the next customer. But tell me, if you were driving alone on Gorimpa Road tonight, and you saw her, would you stop? Every whisper on the highway carried a name. And tonight, it called hers. 3 days had passed since Amora vanished. The girls from the night lane had stopped coming out. Fear walked the streets of Gorimpa like a quiet shadow. At the local police station, Inspector David sat behind his desk, staring at Amora's picture. She was beautiful, too beautiful for the world she got lost in, but there was something else about her photo. Her eyes seemed alive, almost like they were following him. He leaned back in his chair and sighed. His partner, Officer Tond, entered with a file. Another one done happen, sir. David frowned. Another what? Tond dropped the file. One more girl missing. Same area. Same pattern. David opened the file. Inside was a photo of Boma, Amora's friend. He rubbed his temple. This can't be coincidence. What's going on in that place? Tond shrugged. Some people talk say no spirit road. Others say no ritual people. David chuckled bitterly. Spirit road. In Abuja. Abeg, Tond, leave that nonsense. But deep down, something inside him wasn't laughing. He had heard those whispers too, about the Ashawo Highway, a road that collects women who sell their bodies at night. Still, he didn't believe in ghost stories. He believed in evidence. That evening, David drove to the highway. The rain had started again, slow and cold. The streetlights flickered weakly, struggling against the night. He parked his car near the spot where Amora was last seen. The wind carried faint echoes, a woman's laughter, soft, like a memory. He turned sharply. No one was there. Hello. He called out. Silence. He walked closer to the bush where the black Range Rover was found. Then he saw something shining faintly in the mud. A phone. He picked it up, wiped it clean. The screen lit up. It was Amora's phone. The wallpaper showed her smiling in that same red gown. He pressed gallery. There was only one video. He played it. Amora appeared, crying, please. If anyone finds this, don't come to the highway at night. They are not human. The video cut off with a loud whisper. Now, it's your turn. David dropped the phone in shock. His heart raced. The wind picked up. Almost like it was angry, he turned and rushed back to his car. Inside the car, he breathed heavily, trying to calm down. Then his radio crackled. Inspector David, a soft voice whispered through static. He grabbed the walkie-talkie. Who is this? No reply, only a faint sound, a woman's humming, the same melody from the video. He froze. He turned off the radio immediately, but the voice didn't stop. It was coming from behind him now. He turned slowly. Nothing, just his back seat, empty. He exhaled shakily. David, you're losing it, he muttered. Then he saw it, through his windshield, a woman in a red gown, standing in the middle of the road, her face hidden by her hair, barefoot. Still, he blinked, rubbed his eyes. She was gone. The silence returned. He gripped the steering wheel, trying to think. Maybe it was his mind. Maybe it was stress. He decided to leave. As he turned the ignition, his headlights flickered, and on the side mirror, a handprint appeared, fresh. Wet, like someone had just touched it from the outside. The next morning, David went back to the station. He told Tond what he saw. Tond laughed nervously. Oga, maybe you just dey imagine. Night duty fit confuse person. David shook his head. No. That woman I saw, she wasn't normal. Tond lowered his voice. Sir. Do you know the rumor? They say that highway used to be a burial site before they built the express. Some people say the spirits of the dead roam there, looking for peace. David looked away. He didn't want to believe it. But deep down, something was wrong with that place. That evening, he decided to dig deeper. He visited Amora's small apartment in Kubwa. The room was quiet, filled with faint scent of perfume and fear. He opened her diary. The last page read, "He's coming for me again. The man in black. But this time, I record everything." He flipped to the next page. It was blank, except for one word written faintly at the bottom, David. He froze. Why his name? Suddenly, the lights in the room blinked. Her phone, lying on the table, turned on by itself. The screen displayed a message, "You shouldn't have come here." David staggered back, heart pounding. The phone camera turned on. facing him. Then, in the reflection, behind him, stood Amora. In her red gown, he turned sharply, but she was gone. That night, Inspector David finally believed the whispers. The Ashawo Highway wasn't just a road, it was alive. But what did Amora mean when she wrote his name? What secret tied him to her disappearance? And why did the highway seem to know him before he even arrived? They said no man survived the curse of Ashawo Highway. But Inspector David thought he was different until the road called his name. The night was colder than usual. Abuja streets were quiet, too quiet. Rain had started again, tapping gently on the roof of Inspector David's car as he sat near the highway, watching. He had come alone this time, no backup, no partner, no plan, just guilt and questions. On the passenger seat lay Amora's diary, her phone, and a half-empty cup of coffee. David rubbed his tired eyes. For 3 nights, he had replayed that same video, Amora crying, warning whoever would find her not to come to the highway, but she had said something else too, something he hadn't noticed before. He pressed play again, and listened carefully. Behind her voice, a faint sound echoed, a horn, long and soft, the same sound that haunted him in his dreams. He looked out at the dark stretch of road ahead. Only one car passed every few minutes, but in the distance, he thought he saw faint headlights, not moving, just hovering. He blinked. They were gone. He exhaled shakily. This is madness, he whispered, but deep down, he knew the highway wasn't done with him yet. Back at the station, Officer Ton was waiting. Oga, I don't understand you again. This your case done they turned to spiritual matter? David frowned. Turned, you ever hide something so bad, you forget how to breathe? Ton stared at him. Sir. David looked down. 3 years ago, there was a case, a girl found dead on this same highway. They said it was an accident. I was the one who signed the report. So, he sighed deeply. It wasn't an accident, Turned. It was a murder. I covered it up. Ton's face went pale. Sir. Why? David's voice cracked. The killer was a senator's son. They paid me to bury the truth. I didn't know the girl's name back then. He paused, eyes glistening, but now I do. Her name was Kayameka, Amora's younger sister. Silence filled the room. Ton stepped back slowly. Jesus Christ. David looked out the window. Maybe that's why the highway came for her. Maybe it's coming for me next. That night, David couldn't sleep. He drove again, straight to the same spot where Amora vanished. The road shimmered under the moonlight. The air was heavy, almost humming. He parked and stepped out. The wind whispered faintly, David. He turned sharply. No one there. Then, a soft glow appeared ahead, a woman's figure in a red gown, barefoot. Beautiful. Still, he took one step closer. Amora. She turned slowly, her face calm, eyes glistening like water. David. I waited for you. He swallowed hard. What do you want from me? Her voice was gentle but filled with pain. You took justice from my sister. You buried her truth. And now, you're buried in your own lies. David shook his head. I didn't mean to. Every night this road claims another soul because of your silence. Her eyes glowed brighter. The only way to end it is to face it. The ground began to tremble. The wind roared. From behind her, headlights appeared, bright, blinding, silent, a black Range Rover, slowly rolling forward. David stepped back. No. Amora stretched her hand toward him. Come, David. Your judgment is waiting. He shook his head, tears falling. I'm sorry, Amora. I'm sorry for everything. The road hummed louder, like 1,000 voices chanting beneath the earth. The car stopped right beside him. The passenger door opened slowly. Inside, no driver. Only darkness. David looked at Amora again. Will it stop the curse? He asked. She nodded softly. Only when the guilty pays. He hesitated for a moment. Then stepped inside. The door closed automatically. The car lights flickered, and in a flash of lightning, both he and the car vanished into thin air. The next morning, commuters saw an abandoned police car near the highway. Inside, David's badge lay on the seat. Beside a folded red gown and a white rose. No one ever found his body, but that night, drivers reported something new, a man in uniform standing beside a woman in red, waving at cars. Some say he was smiling, others say he was crying. They say the highway sleeps by day but wakes by night, that if you drive past midnight, you'll hear them whisper, the woman and the man who once betrayed her. So tell me, when you reach that lonely stretch of road, and you see a red gown glowing in the dark, will you stop, or will you keep driving?